Oh, they coming in, Coach. They coming in. I would like to welcome everyone to HBCU Coaches Corner. I'm your host, Rocky Miller, along with my featured host tonight, none other than the SWAC legend himself, the TSU champion. You're not the only TSU championship coach, but one of two.
Hey, Coach, ain't none of them living, Coach. Ain't none of them living with me. Let's get that straight. You was right. I'm the only one living, Coach. We ain't won a championship since '68 till I won one.
All right, Coach. We're the only living.
Let's get that straight.
TSU championship coach. I want to thank all you guys for being here tonight. I know you guys could be anywhere in the world doing anything, but you guys decided to tune in here with me and Coach Cole. Campbell is on the way. He let us know he handling some FAMU business, and he'll be right here. You know, FAMU takes priority over HBCU Coaches Corner. I want y'all to get on him when he get here and let him know that, hey, we got something important going on here. But with that being said, Coach, you know how we started off. Coach, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, Coach, man. You know, always, man, the show is come on Tuesday, and we like to bring people in from all over, and you know, it's, you know, the news is spreading that, you know, we got a really good show, and we talk really, really good football. And, you know, definitely, again, you know, I started this show to, you know, put black product on, and of these head coaches and HBCUs, because sometimes we get a bad rap about, you know, how we go about the business, you know what I mean? And to be able to have these coaches, these head coaches come in and talk about who they are and their philosophies and all that good stuff, and their players as well. So, you know, things are working out, man. God has answered he answered a gift for mine that I'm able to do that. And you know me, I give you the shirt off my back, and it gives people a chance to know who I am and who's Rocky is and Bishop. You know, we talk real ball, we talk real things.
And speaking of the Bishop, look who the wind blew in. Straight off FAMU business. He decided to stop by and bless us with his presence.
Well, I think it's because he knows who we about to bring on. One of them Jacksonians, you know what I'm saying? Jackson State. He come with all the Florida A&M talk on his deal. You know, this Jackson State night tonight.
Man, look, we fighting the power tonight, Coach. I'm saying, see, man, my man, if he from Jackson, he know exactly what that means. We fighting the power tonight, Coach. We got to let people know we ain't playing around. We got some heavy stuff going on tomorrow.
Okay. Well, look, I hope it ain't no $300 million gift and a girl with rings on. And
listen, here's the thing. Listen, if you think that's bad, if you hire the wrong president, it'll be even worse than that. How about that?
Oh, wow. Come on, man.
Hey, y'all going to have y'all next one. Will it be y'all first woman president that y'all about to hire?
No. We've had one before, Elvira Mangum. She was president before Robinson.
Man,
Okay. Well, y'all,
the way these male presidents doing at all these colleges, I don't know. Shit, the women probably need to step in and take over.
Well, not this woman. We want qualified women, not this woman.
Oh, I got you. Well, look, this is a show we gonna get going, man. I got another friend of mine, man. I actually had a chance as a young player to watch him play. And he's a Jackson State grad, and he's been around this business a long time, served in a couple head coaching spots. He currently now is the head coach at Lane College. I can remember, man, this guy ran all over Bishop. All I kept hearing, Stanley Conner, touchdown, you know, and that's when he played at Jackson State during the great years. And even though they're great years now, but he played up under W.C. Gordon, who we all know is one of the greatest coaches ever coached. My friend, again, the head coach at Lane College, Stanley Conner. Hey,
let me bring Coach Conner up. Yeah, that looks a little better, Coach. We were just getting the top of your head. We just getting the shine off your head.
Hey,
No,
I know
you
how
good
it
now,
is.
Coach.
Coach, is that the only sign I left? Man, we gotta get your office. I guess you ain't been there long enough to get your office right, huh?
Well, I tell you what, Johnny, I'm actually at home in Birmingham,
Uh-huh.
and I travel with that sign. I tell you, we're on a mission. It's a
Okay.
mission, so I have to be ready.
Okay. Coach Ben, how you doing, man? You
Doing
just
good.
came off a championship in SIAC. Mystery that you coached at the University of, Benedict, and you've been around the conference, and you coach with a great and Sham Shade, who's been on our show 2 or 3 times. Now we've been getting folks jobs, Stanley. I'm trying to figure out the one you gonna get next, but we'll talk about that later. Let's stay with Lane, man. You've been on the job not too long, man. Kind of give us a feel of, what you think, where you want to take the program, and where you are today.
Well, I feel pretty good, Johnny, and I definitely like our chances. We've been out there recruiting, trying to build a quality program. And I tell you what, the city of Jackson has got a lot of good things planned. I'm very excited, very excited. John, I even have theme music.
Uh-oh. That's the new thing now. That's the new thing. I got to give me some theme music on this show. Coach, they hadn't won, Coach, in a while. I think I had the last winning season. I got to throw that in there in 2007. My hat go off to Coach Brown. I'm pretty sure he did a great job. And what are some of the first things that you think you had to do to try to get you where you are now and where you're going?
Well, our President Comer does an excellent job. Really understand the mission at hand and really trying to help me. We know right now the biggest concern that I have is our scholarship numbers, but we've been very innovative in what we're doing. We think we're in pretty good shape. I think we're actually ahead of the game right now. So, again, not saying too much, the less you say, the less you have to take back. But to be honest, Johnny, I really feel good.
Yeah. I remember my time there, and I didn't realize that it was founded by Isaac Lane, who was a Baptist preacher, I want to say. And I just didn't know the history. But it has a lot of history. It's one of the oldest black colleges that we have. And I didn't know they had so much alumni support that they do. Have they displayed that to you? Or
yeah. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of good things going on. The scholarship banquet that we had, it was a tremendous event, better than I expected. They really turned out. Again, the support has been great. And I just, I can't wait till the season gets started.
Yeah. One of the things, is real dear to my heart. They had a great player there. I was fortunate of a coach, and I think that's why we probably won a lot. I was fortunate to coach Jacoby Jones.
Yes.
Pretty sure that you've heard about that. And, he had donated to school money, him and his mother. Have you had a chance to have that came up yet, or is it y'all looking to maybe do some around his name? Because, he's the first.
We're not going to forget about Jacoby. I was fortunate enough to work with Jacoby. I worked as a consultant at one time when he was a young coach. I actually worked with his mom for a couple of years at Miles. Okay. And of course we had great conversation. So it was quite a shock, when he passed. I just started reflecting on little Jacoby. Used to hang around the office, playing video games. Just glad that I had a chance to, meet him, spend some time with him. So it was a, tough time. And we really still trying to support her and support his memory.
Yeah. A little bit about Lane and Jacoby. He was the first player to get drafted in over 100 years of football. So I wanted to make sure I put that out. I got these guys, Coach. They good guys. Stan, tonight's your night. Of course, we might get into some other talks, but y'all guys go ahead.
Well, Coach Connor, I'd like to start with give you opportunity to kind of introduce who you are, where you come from, how you ended up on the HBCU scene, and just kind of share with us how you found your way to Lane College.
Well, it's been a long road, long road. You know, my mind was set for somewhere else, but I'm glad I ended up at Jackson State. I think it was a blessing in disguise. It had its way of really developing me, bringing out the best in me. My times at Jackson, I knew I was going to be a coach, but that was my first introduction to real hardcore HBCU football. I really learned a lot. I really learned a lot about being dedicated to what you're doing and really the things that you have to do in order to be a champion. And that's been a part of me everywhere I've been.
And Coach played from 80 to 83, and they beat the hell out of us. So my hat goes out to him.
Oh, Johnnie, we kind of beat up on everybody those 3 years. That was 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Talk your talk, then, Coach. Talk your talk.
Coach,
It ain't been 3 in a row. It ain't been 3 in a row in a while.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now, Coach, one thing, Stanley, of course, Dion, we like Dion on the show. He's did a great job at Jackson State, but he had at certain times made some comments like stuff ain't never happened before. Because I think y'all won, 8, 9 championships in the 80s?
Johnnie, I stopped counting. We won, 3 in a row. Then we had that mishap with Mississippi Valley. You remember that big shootout they had with Alcorn?
Yeah.
And then we came back and won 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Undefeated, if I should add that in there.
Yeah.
But my time at Jackson, we won 3 championships, went to the playoffs twice. So I think, we represented Jackson State well during that era. But there was quite a few wins. Every year was a draft party. We put a lot of guys in the pros. We probably have more Pro Bowlers than any other HBCUs. I don't know if people ever really looked at that.
Talking about probably more than one A schools.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about Coach W.C. Gordon, man. I used to love W.C. Gordon. I was on the SWAC tour before. Did you ever get a chance to go on the SWAC tour?
Yeah, that was quite
about
a bit.
W.C. Gordon.
And I miss those times. We used to sit around and talk, Cassim. I remember him quite well. He had a way of saying things. And a lot of people don't know Eddie Robinson was a real jokester. But he always commanded attention when he came in the room. But W.C. Gordon had his own way. And again, like I said, it was a blessing in disguise. The things that I learned from him, the biggest thing that a lot of people don't know or didn't know is when he would come by your room and open up the Bible and read some scripture. You never really saw that side of him until certain moments when he wanted to really talk to you. That WC, everybody was afraid of it. Will cut, won't care, and watch you cry. So that particular time he came by my room, he said that WC also stands for will care. And I saw that moment at that time.
Let me ask you this, Stanley, Coach Connor, because this is interesting to me as someone who originally had limited knowledge of HBCUs. And in my opinion, the biggest brand in HBCU football is by far Gramling, right?
Yeah.
But each and every time I talk to somebody who was either part of the Jackson State program, a Jackson native, or just somebody from Mississippi, they tend to point out how often Jackson State would beat the great coach, Eddie Robinson. So tell me, explain to me, how did the Gramling brand become so huge at a time where they were being dominated by Jackson State?
Well, I don't know whether or not we really dominated Jackson. You know, back then we didn't have too many rules. So when we got ready to play Jackson, we knew what kind of play Gramling, we knew what kind of week it was going to be. You know, 3 times a day it was going to happen. You're going to eat and come back and practice again. You're going to get ready during the summer if you were playing them early. You know, when you walked out and you saw Eddie Robinson up under the goalpost, you knew you were going to have a tough time that particular day. It never was an easy game when it came to playing Gramling. You knew you had to be at your best. So I can't say we really dominated. I guess, you know, I played in some games where they put it on us. But they knew when it was that time, a Jackson and Gramling game, you had to be at your best.
Yeah. Let me pick back off of that too, Rocky. Eddie Robinson, and we talked with Al Wash, how Eddie got with Al Wash and they stopped playing home games. They only would play 3 home games. And Eddie was the first one to take HBCU gold, you know, in the 70s as well as the 80s. So Eddie kind of was more that Showtime thing. And it wasn't so much of Jackson Gramling overshined Jackson State. It was more so they were on the road a lot, played up in New York, Chicago, Tampa, played over in Japan. So Eddie was more of the big figure. W.C. Gordon to me was more of the grandfather, the coach on the side. You know, he wasn't really about showboating to me, but Stanley, you sure enough can share more of that with them than I could, because I mostly was watching it from the sideline.
Yeah, I tell you, people don't realize what a class act Eddie Robinson was. I remember one game, we had a receiver to get hurt, and we had to leave him in Louisiana. But I tell you, Eddie Robinson and his wife came to the hospital every day and brought him something, some kind of home cooking. Victor Marshall was his name. He talked about that for the rest of the school year, how he and Eddie Robinson had these conversations and what his wife was doing. You know, you talking about a head coach that took time out of his day to come see another player that was injured in a game. He was not alone. Every day he was at the hospital to spend some time with the young man. Just class. And I'm glad I had the honor and the privilege to meet him, to sit down and talk with him about how you treat people. I can remember him telling me, Coach, no matter how tough it is, when you come back home, make sure you feed your players. He said, don't ever let it be a time you so mad that you don't want to feed your players. He said, make sure you feed them, Coach. Make sure you feed them.
Yeah. I just piggyback off of that too, guys. I'm going to let you in there. You know, when I went on the SWAC tour, and the SWAC tour, Rocky and Bishop, you know what it was. We would stop at every school, and they would get out, and the coach would talk. They bring 2 players with them. I seen some gentlemen, guys, and I was a player, that they would sit up in the front, all the head coaches, and then at that night they would go to each other's room or whatever room had all the liquor, and man, they were close, coach. These HBCU coaches were close, man. And if you worked in HBCU, they would send you around and hire each other and make sure everybody had jobs. And when they would go play each other, they would actually go over each other's house or to the hotel and have some drinks and talk. We were more, the conference was like this, you know what I'm saying? And I guess, you know, I try to bring that type of attitude with me, but I know things have changed. You got social media and that kind of thing. But I think it only changed with us and not them, because they still hire each other, and we sometimes do the same thing, but we could be better.
Oh, yes. I agree.
Well, that's interesting. I'd like to get Mr. Campbell's perspective on this, on it, if he has a moment to.
Well, I think, you know, I think, you know, the, you know, the, 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 the,
Yeah, you're gonna have to unmute though.
Talking before I start, Coach. First of all, I appreciate you being on, Coach. I see your last name. Now, are you related to Darian Conner? Are you related to him?
Yes, we're related. It was quite a few of us at Jackson.
Okay, is that a cousin of yours or is that a brother?
Yeah, we're cousins.
Okay. So hey, listen, Rocky. Now that Conner name, those are real ball players. Okay, so that's exciting. Now, Coach, like you said, you played at a time. Again, I'm from Jackson. Saw those great teams in the '80s. Grew up during that time, and one of the things that I always admired was, as you say, the talent on those teams. The amount of talent. And I told guys this, and I had Rocky as our newest guy. He came, I called him a primate. He came when Dion came. And they were shocked when I told them. I said, hey, man, those guys in the 80s, in a 5-year period, had like 25 guys drafted. I don't think people understand that. So with that being said, you looking at all the level of talent that you played around, who was the player that you played with that you said, hey, man, that guy was special? And one that you played with and one that you played against?
Played with, I tell you, the guy that I always remember is Carl Roberts. He played in the USFL, played with Doug Williams, but Carl Roberts was some kind of machine. I mean, 6'2", 6'3", maybe 260, 270, but he was the meanest thing that ever put on a pair of shoulder pads. I mean, run like the wind. You got to understand now, he's an offensive lineman. And we would run that sweep or what have you. You can count on him being out front. I tell you, he was so tough. In the NFL, they wanted him to play linebacker. They brought him in to make him a linebacker. He was just that tough. But he was an offensive lineman that can run it, dedicated to the weight room. But you can count on Carl Roberts. I will remember him for the rest of my life. I've seen some good ones. But I remember Carl Roberts. Some players, I think Dent. I guess I remember Richard Dent. As a young guy, freshman, we got caught in the tunnel. I believe they was waiting on us. So when we came to practice that day, they were in the tunnel. And there it was. You got to think about it now. 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". And we were just as big. And I'm only about 5'7". So, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you talking about scary, but Richard Dent was quite a football player.
Now Rocky. Now, of course, I know Rocky knows who Richard is. Now, you're talking about. See, this is what, and Coach, I just want to make this point. You just named a Hall of Famer that you saw and played against, and that's the thing that, again, because things have changed. But that's what's so exciting when we bring people like yourself on. That was the level of talent you guys played every week. You literally played against a Hall of Famer every week,
all the time.
You talking about Emerson Walls, Doug Williams, Mike Williams, Victor Hall, Jackie, Coach, all of them, and Jackie Walker,
Robert Brazil.
Coach, it was crazy, Coach. I just 5'9". I was the holder. I would hold for the kick, and man, I'm seeing these big old huge men. But all I ever heard, Stanley Conner, touchdown. Stanley Conner, touchdown. Stanley was.
Johnnie, you may have had me confused with somebody else. Man, I was a role player.
Yeah, right. Okay, role.
Hey, Coach Conner, in your coaching, so you were a running back not only at Jackson State, but you played also on the pro level. Can you tell us about where you played and your experience there?
Well, actually, I was fortunate enough to play in the USFL. Didn't get a chance to stay around long. Marcus Dupree and myself, we had the same agent. So we spent a lot of time together, and we, got a chance to know each other, talked about some personal things, and, talked about that injury he had. And he really had already predicted that injury, as a matter of fact. But didn't get a chance to have that kind of career that I was looking for. So had a chance to go to Canada, Ottawa Rough Riders. Had basically the same experience, just getting a chance to prove to myself that I can play on that level was the biggest thing about that. you know. And so after that, I was really satisfied and knew that I wanted to be a coach. And that's when a guy named Jim Parker, just like Johnnie was saying, those guys took care of us. All we had to do is let them know we wanted to coach, and they took care of us. They found a way to hire us. You know, Jim Parker was the head coach at Alabama State at the time. You know, so I wanted to go back to Jackson, but Jim Parker told him, no, let him come on down here with me. And that's what I did. Spent some time with him, learned a lot of great things. You know, it wasn't GA, and back that time, you went to work. You had your own room. It wasn't just going, you know, picking up clothes. No, you had to coach. And that's what they made us do. And I really appreciate it. I thought it was rough at the time, but I really appreciate it.
All right, Coach. We got you up. We done went through your past a little bit. We done got you up to. We talked about how you got here, Coach. But you got a pretty big task ahead of you, Coach, there at Lane College, right?
Yeah.
As Coach Cole pointed out, the previous guy who was on our show was relieved of his duties, primarily because they didn't win, Coach. What's your plan to get Lane back in the winning column and a respectable school in the SIAC?
Oh, I tell you, it's divine intervention. I was in the room. I tell you, it was this envelope. And they said, in case of emergency, open that envelope. It was a letter from Johnnie Cole. So I say, this is an emergency right now, so I'll open it. So he say, develop a plan and stick with it, but be flexible, but stick with what you believe. And that's what I'm going to do. Johnnie used to have his theme. I don't know if y'all remember, cold-blooded. That was the thing when Johnnie hit the state of Alabama, Alabama State. It was all about cold-blooded. And that it was, but a lot of people don't remember. Johnnie did a great job at Lane College. Can't remember exactly what the record was, but I do remember presenting Johnnie with the trophy from the Alumni Association for being Coach of the Year. That I do remember. He had a tremendous year, and I think he went on to Texas Southern and did great things there as well. But I plan to follow in his footsteps. Keep it exciting. You know, keep it exciting. It is a big task, but I'm really looking for great things, and that's how I'm gonna be able to stay at Lane, Johnnie. I'm not looking to go anywhere else. I'm looking to stay at Lane. So I know you won and got on, but I don't think I'm going anywhere. I think I'm gonna be here for a while. I told you I had my own theme music right now. Yeah, it's all about the city of Jackson. Our city, our team.
Can you tell us about some of the players that are currently on the team and that you look to contribute in the upcoming year?
Well, you know, basically we pretty much got a new team, to be honest. When I got there, a lot of people had got into the transfer portal. Man, I tell you, I only had about 3 offensive linemen, you know, so I had to be very innovative during the spring. So it's didn't look so good in the beginning. But again, you know, one of my strengths, or one of the things I consider my strength is recruiting. So I look for some of those coaches to amplify that and to get on board. So we really been trying to get out and recruit talent. So I'm just now learning my team, and that's why I can't wait till the fall to really see what they can do. But again, we looking for great things.
Now, Coach, you're in a pretty competitive conference, right? But I want to give you some hope. Last year, there was a team that was 1-9. The year before, Coach Teddy Keaton arrived, and he somehow miraculously got Clark Atlanta into the SIAC championship. Do you foresee that kind of turnaround happening for you guys at Lane?
Well, Teddy came up short. I don't plan on coming up short. Again, unless you say, unless you have to take back. But Teddy and I used to have great conversations when he was down, but I knew he wasn't going to be down long. Again, you got to be a great recruiter, and that he is. He's a great recruiter, great motivator. So I knew it wasn't going to be long. He just needed time to get his players in there so he can exercise his philosophy. And again, you know, I want to do the same. And that's my game plan. Again, my eyes out are wide open. Operation Blue Dragon is in full effect. And I think everybody in Jackson, Tennessee can see what I can see. You know, there's a storm coming over the horizon. And it's all about Lane College. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. How much, because you've coached under some great guys, kind of share with us some of the things you've taken away from W.C. Gordon as a player. You've been under Parker. You've been under now the head coach at Alabama A&M, Sam Shea. You've been under some great guys. How much have they influenced your coaching?
Well, I tell you, people don't realize how personal it was back in the day with the coaches. Like I said, W.C. Gordon and I had a real good relationship. I knew his wife. We would have those conversations even after the playing days. Houston Markham, I tell you, one of the toughest coaches when it came to getting a team ready. If you made it through Houston Markham's camp, you had to be ready. Ain't no doubt about it. And those guys knew that. They knew if they made it through that camp. So therefore, it was so easy to turn that thing around at Alabama State. But it was all about the mindset that Houston Markham gave those guys, you know, and I really respect the influence that he had on me. I guess I spent more time with him than W.C. Gordon, but they were one and the same. They worked together in Vicksburg. I can remember the time when he would put me in the chair and say, okay, you make this decision. You know, you the head coach today, make the decision. And he was serious. You know, sometimes they would leave me there by myself and go to camps. I didn't understand why, but later on we talked about it. He knew I was going to be a head coach. So he wanted me to have that experience of running a team. And that was the best experience that I could have. I didn't see it at that time, but it actually gave me the edge. Cardell Jones was my position coach. He went on. McNair, set records. But Cardell Jones was my position coach. I knew he was going to be successful at Alcorn when he took the job. But all those guys did it the same way. You know, the old-fashioned way. They earned it. And I took that with me everywhere I've been. And I continue to do that here at Lane. We're going to earn it. We're not asking for anything. We're going to earn everything that we get.
Now, Stan, was you on the national championship team at Alabama State?
I had just left.
Oh,
I took another job. That was 90, I believe, 89, 90?
Yeah, 90, yeah.
90. Yeah, with Ricky Jones.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He could, and Barlow.
And Barlow, yes.
Yeah. We've had him on our show as well. Now he's the new coach at Tennessee State. If I'm a parent, I'm looking at this show, Coach Conner. What would you tell me to make me want to bring my son and bring him to Lane College, just for you and also the college?
You're going to be treated like a man. And I'm going to make sure you're ready for this thing we call the real world. You may not know it when you get there, but we're going to talk to you about the power of potential and what it looks like. And before you leave there, you're going to demand your power. And we're going to have you equipped to get it. When you walk in a room, no matter who you're around, kings or queens, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to stand out in that room. That's the way we work. Dr. Comer has this thing, next level of excellence. And that's what it's all about. We're all about igniting our players, giving them the information, and then the impact, and giving them the voice to have impact within the society, within this world. So we're gonna change this thing one family at a time, one community at a time. We're looking for great things this year from Lane College, and I think the time is, like I said, the time is here. The setting is perfect. Again, John, I keep saying these people are excited. I never had theme music. I keep telling you, we have theme music. So, and we got to listen to just one of the clips. I have about 4.
Now, Coach, wait a minute, hold on. Now we got to do this right. Wait a minute, hold on, Coach. Where are the clips on the social media so we can? Where is it at?
Well, I can't. We can't put it out just yet.
Oh, okay.
But, I can give you all a sneak preview of one of them. If we have time that I can just let you listen to one of them.
This your time, Coach. This your time. We usually 3 hours, but we just in 36 minutes.
Touchdown in Jackson with fire in his eyes and purpose in his stride. New to Lane, new to the West.
Can you hear that?
But already home.
Yeah.
He's not just calling plays, he's calling a movement. Operation Blue Dragon, his battle cry.
I see your head, Bob and Johnny.
I like that.
Hey, Coach. Sound like you're on a game show, Coach.
A mission to awaken greatness, to raise Lane College football to its rightful throne. With no other college team in West Tennessee, the spotlight is ours to own. Every practice echoes with energy, every rep is a promise.
Yeah, Dion
Now, so
Saga
grind harder.
continues
Play
in
smarter.
Lane College.
The
Stanley Conner.
home that Johnny built.
Football, this is Lane rising. Red and blue blood runs through our veins. We are the Browns.
The Dragon.
All right. That sounds.
Oh,
So y'all got it going, man.
Hey, Coach. Let
Somebody
me ask you this here.
Connors, they asked, are you recruiting the northern part of Alabama?
what was that again?
Are you recruiting the northern part of Alabama?
Am I recruiting the?
The
I can't get this thing. I can't get it to come off now. Everything's fired up. You were speaking about recruiting.
Yeah.
Well, we were recruiting all over.
Okay.
My big contacts are in South Alabama. I'm known in that area, but we've been recruiting all over. To make this thing work right now, we really have to recruit this Tennessee because we get the biggest value out of our dollar, so to speak, because Tennessee does a great job with their grants and what have you. We're able to really focus on the Tennessee area.
Okay.
Coach, what can we expect to see on September 6th when you line up against Lincoln University this upcoming season?
Like I say, I always say, what would Johnny do? And Johnny would go deep the first play to set the tone, so that's what we're going to do. The first play of the game, we going
All
deep.
y'all been talking. All of them been talking, Coach.
I'm just saying. That's
He
what
gonna
you
do
would do,
some
right?
trickery.
Oh, yeah, triple reverse. I remember. Triple reverse double pass. We ain't ready for that, but we can throw it deep. We recruited speed and size on the outside, so we're going to throw it.
Well, I'm gonna have to call Coach Moses at Lincoln. That's one of my guys.
Okay.
Hey, well, let me go through it. Let me go through it a little bit for you guys, because I see an interesting game here, Coach.
Okay.
So we got Lincoln University. That's Coach Moses. That's your guy.
Yeah.
Then we've had the coach from Allen on the show as well. Really nice guy. We like him. But coach, on September 20th, you make a trip back to Alabama and play somebody you know very, 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 very well. Sam Shade.
Made in the
Alabama A&M University, coach.
He got it made in the shade.
Hey, one thing about it, Rocky, you gonna love that game because it only gonna last about an hour because both of them gonna run pound the ball.
You know, Johnny.
Ain't no ball gonna be in the air in that game, coach.
I told you, Johnny.
Right now.
Hey, man, we going deep.
Now, coach, that's hey. Now you do know, coach, if you go and win that game, your good friend Sam Shade may not be there long, coach.
Hey, look, I spent 12 years on the hill.
Yeah.
I was telling Mac, I said, Mac, now you know up on the hill is a little different now. You're gonna have a beat writer. He said, a beat writer? What do you mean? I said, that's the guy gonna be everywhere you go. So anything's going on, everybody gonna know about it. So you're right, it's a tough place. You know, they want to win. They expect to win. But I think Sam is gonna be up for the challenge. He does a great job. He has an excellent staff. They understand the game. They understand how to get a team prepared. So it should be a great contest. I know, you know, they have more scholarships than we do, but I promise you we'll be ready as well. It should be a good contest. So we're looking forward to it. That's definitely one of the games that I have circled.
Coach, I was looking for a game on your schedule. Don't seem like y'all got. I was looking for when y'all travel to Atlanta and play play Clark Atlanta, but it looks like y'all gave each other a break this year.
Look like it, so it'll have to be in the championship game.
Oh my goodness!
I think Teddy is looking to get back, and I'm looking to make history. I'm working that way, regardless of how it turned out. We working to be champions, and we would have it no other way. And let the chips fall where they may. But that's how we are going to work.
All right, Coach.
Rocky, were you going?
No. I was going to let you get in there.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a question. Coach, this is a comment. Man, listen, you look like you're 30. But I know you're old school because, like I said, you came out of Jack State, so I'm 55, so you got a little age up. But brother, you look good. With that being said, Coach, and coming from the level of coach that you just named that you coached under, what is from, as they say, what of the old have you brought to go with the new? And because you know this is a different time, different group of kids. You can't say the thing that you can't go 3 times a day like Coach Gordon said. What have you learned? But you know the foundation from the old school that you not can apply to the new school player.
Look, hard work is going to be talent any day, especially when talent don't work hard. So what I'm bringing from the old school is just old-fashioned hard work. Smith and Barney, as they would say, you know, we're going to earn it. The new school is all about being innovative. It's all about making sure that your kids understand the most important thing is that you care about them. If you don't get that to your players, you're going to have trouble. You know, they want everything quick, fast, and in a hurry. You got to be able to tell them when to slow down. But if they don't trust you, you got problems. They got to be able to trust you. You know, they got to see that you care and they got to trust you. When you don't have trust, you don't have anything. So the biggest thing right now, we're trying to develop that trust, and we are working that way. We want them to be great, productive citizens when they leave Lane College. You know, we really mean it about teaching them about the next level of excellence. You know, but they got to learn the power of potential and how to get that power from their potential. Potential is nothing It's all about getting that potential into power and then owning your power, taking your power to use it for the good. And that's our job, to cultivate them through this experience so they will be great tax-paying citizens. You know, we got to have some taxes when we get ready to retire now. So if they don't get good jobs, we're going to be in trouble, Johnny.
Now, Coach, let me ask you, you know, you said something, and I love what you're saying. Now, one of the things now, and I heard now, see, Coach, see, you already opened up this Pandora's box for me. You got the theme song. Now, is there something that you're going to be cultivating through social media that you're going to be using this as promotion to promote yourself and promote the school, and then let future recruits, future, you know, people of men of lane get to see what it's all about? Are you going to, is that going to be one of the things that, as on the new school side, that you're going to utilize and try to start working with?
It's all about the city. You know, our city, our team. And that's what it's all about. You know, it's not just Lane. Again, we're about impacting not only Lane, but we're going to impact Tennessee. And from Tennessee, we're impacting the United States. And from the United States, going to be the world. I don't know if you've seen the movie, what is it, 666?
I have.
Well, we're a part of that.
Okay.
So
Okay, Coach.
It can be done, it will be done.
Now, all right, for all you young folks, Coach just gave y'all some homework. That are the women in the Army that made sure the mail got there, that they said could not be done, which, of course, they had to get some black folks to do it to get it done. So, Coach, that's a great reference. And Coach, you know what's great about that reference is it does say a lot about doing something that people say you can't do.
Oh, yeah.
And as one of my mentors saying, completing the task. So, Coach, I do like that you have that mindset, and I'm really excited to see what you're going to do at Lane. But, Coach, I tell you one thing: if the coaching thing don't work out, you need to tell her how you ball of youth. Because, man, I'm telling you, man, you got it up there, Coach. You got it up there. You and Coach Cole, I don't know what y'all doing.
Well, let me ask you this here, Coach Conner.
Yeah.
In this NIL era, and in the transfer portal era, right? What are some of the things that are most important about developing a program in this era?
It's not going to change. I mean, some of the things are going on now, what's going on back then. You just couldn't say it. But they were doing it anyway, if that makes sense, if you know what I'm talking about. But we still going to preach the same thing. You know, Coach Markham, Houston Markham, used to always talk about, you know, you get a few pennies in your pocket and you think you're everything. But he would say, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about owning the store. So those are the things we used to teach and preach. You know, how are you going to become a professional? And we weren't talking about the NFL. We was talking about becoming a professional in what we were doing and how we had to get there. Again, it was all about recognizing our potential, but recognizing your potential wasn't good enough. You had to work that way. And it was all about treating people right, doing right because it's right to do right for no other reason. So, you know, we're not looking into the NILs. It'd be good to let those guys get that money because it started out that way. It was all about giving the kids an opportunity to get some of what they were building. You know, we were the ones out there playing. And I think, well, matter of fact, I know they deserve to be paid, but right now we can't govern it. We got to find a way to govern what we are doing because it's really getting out of hand. Again, the purpose started out right, but it's getting out of hand right now. We got to find a way to govern what we're doing to make it work. You know, this demanding so much money in high school, getting 6 figures offered to you to move from one high school. We losing everything that we've been trying to build, you know, when it comes to developing good men and women. That's what it was about. creating a person in society that can go out and create the biggest impact in their community. Education is still one of the most powerful tools. We can't lose sight of that. Right now, they don't realize the only way you can make the money, you got to keep transferring. So therefore, you're not going to get the most important thing, and that's your degree. Because in the end, you're not going to have any eligibility left, and you're not going to have any money to pay for your degree. So it's going to be counterproductive because we've lost sight of what we really was fighting for, and that was just getting part of what we deserve. But now it's getting out of hand, and we got to find a way to govern what we're doing to get this thing back on track. But at Lane College, we're going to keep the main thing. The main thing is about educating our student athletes. We're going to do that.
Hey, you muted up, Coach Cole. I can unmute you. I don't know how you ended up muted.
I think Johnny's playing that old trick.
Right,
he's not really muted.
Yes, I can hear you now, Coach.
All right, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my fault. Hey, Henry Freeman, Coach?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure we let you know he on the show, and he wanted to talk to you about, but you already talked about recruiting. I guess, does he help you recruit?
Freeman.
Yeah.
Freeman was another one of those guys that did a great job recruiting. I remember, at Benedict, I just knew I had that game won. And Freeman ended up pulling it out. And then I didn't stick around long enough to get back at him. Johnnie, he's one up on me. And we got to get both of y'all back because I owe both of y'all. We got to find a way to get you back, get Freeman back, because if not, I'm going to go to my grave trying to catch up.
Now, Coach, when we was at Tennessee State, we was a machine, Coach. I think if we went back there today, we might score 4 or 5 more touchdowns.
I heard that. Freeman's always been one of those defensive minds. And now Copeland's taking right after him.
Yeah.
Freeman is a great friend. I know he's going to do great things where he is right now. But it would be nice to get back. I think we need to try to get back, Johnnie.
Well, Coach, man, I don't know. I've got other interests, man, but you never say never. You know what I mean? When it's time in August, you get that green grass smell, man. So no, it never leaves you, Coach. It's just the right opportunity these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand.
I ain't no young pup. I ain't sleeping underneath the desk and on the couch and staying over. I'm too old to start over, Coach. I refuse to start over.
You got to exercise. You got to get out and walk.
I do a lot of bike riding, Coach. And
okay.
I'm out here in Arizona now, so we do a lot of hiking and all that kind of stuff these days.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I thought you were in California somewhere. I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm close. I'm next to it, Coach. But man, you got my guy Moses Harper coming at Lincoln. Man, that might be a game I need. Now y'all go to them or they come to you guys?
They come to us.
Okay.
But we go to A&M.
Oh, wow.
But the other game is Miles. They come to us for homecoming. So
now, Coach, I gotta ask you, some of the people are asking, and I gotta ask you too. Let's talk about, have you decided what you're gonna do offensively? I know the game has changed, from when we were coaching, we were more balanced. Then they went to more throwing the football, but I know what you like. Are you gonna run the option again? Is that a secret, or can you tell us, your style on offense and your style on defense?
Hey, I tell you what. When I was in Canada, I fell in love with the run and shoot. Okay. Miles Davis did a great job with teaching that offense. I had the pleasure of working with Kevin Gilbright, but I always thought I could make it simpler. And that's what I've done. I've made it simpler. And to be honest, Johnny, I combined the two.
Okay.
So I often ask myself, what would I do if I had the worst talent in the world? One thing I knew I could do was run the football. Whenever there was option involved, I could move the football. And that has held true my whole career. I would always have, if not one, two out of the top 4 rushers wherever I've been. A lot of people don't remember that I coached a Heisman Trophy winner, not a Heisman Trophy winner, but a Heisman Trophy candidate back in the 80s. 88, 8, and 9, a lot of people don't remember that was Brad Baxter.
Woo!
Yeah, Brad was almost 2,000-yard rushers.
Yeah.
But I had a run at Alabama A&M for years. We would always be the top rushing team, top 10. So you got to be able to run the football. That's a given. But you got to be able to throw it as equally as well. And then I think the run and shoot is going to give us that ability. But, I was unfortunate. The other places I've been, I didn't really have the scholarships to recruit like I wanted. I had to make sure that the defense was set. Mm-hmm. Well, with President Comer giving me the opportunity to up my scholarships, I've been able to balance that. So we got talent on defense and offense. So, I got those big, tall guys like you had back in the day outside. Mm-hmm. And that quarterback who can throw it a mile. So we're going to combine the two. So between the two, we're going to find a weak spot. And that's how it's going to roll that game. We're going to find out where you're not prepared, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah. And, looking at the spread, and you could appreciate this, Coach Conner, it ain't nothing but option game. You know what I'm saying? It's not, don't block the backside tackle. That back come out underneath. It's the same thing as veer option. You don't block the front side tackle, and that fullback you read. If he slam hard, you pull. If he get up, you give it to him, and he run up back underneath. It's the same. It's the same concept, but you coming from the gun as opposed to underneath the center.
Right.
Some people think it's man, this is the new stuff. But really it's not.
Yeah, it's tough to blitz, and it actually adds because you're not all the way up in the line, so you can see your read just a little better. And it's easier for the quarterback to run his option progression route, to read it, to read the option routes. So, it's just something that I've been looking at for a time and doing part here, part there. But a lot of times when I was head coach, I let the offensive coordinator run what he wanted to run, just try to stay out of the way as much as possible. But this particular year, I'm running the offense myself. So I'm going to do all the things that I thought I could do. We putting it all together right now. So I guess that's another reason why I'm excited. I think we're going to have a pretty good game plan. We just got to be the best at what we're doing. And we're going to get that done by hard work. We're going to work hard. We're going to do the things necessary to get ready. We don't have any excuses. Not trying to talk much. Again, I believe in the less you say, the less you have to take back. But Johnnie, I am excited about what's about to happen. I've always, had this envision, when the rabbit got the gun, it's a whole nother game. And right now, you can call me Peter Rabbit, Johnnie. Because the rabbit got the gun. And it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Yeah. Used to be old mascot, Rocky, named Peter Rabbit, older gentleman. I don't know what was his status, but he was able to travel. Cam was always one of them at HBCU that just hang around the program.
Hey.
You be like, where he come from? He ain't got no degree. He ain't, you don't even know where he live at half the time, Rocky. But he show up, he get on the bus, he had practice every day, he usually equipment manager, and that was Peter Rabbit of Alabama State. You know, you have them everywhere though. You have them everywhere.
And it's me now at Lane College. I'm Peter Rabbit.
Coach, so defensively, let's talk about defense now. I know you're going to be all over on offense, I see right now. What about on the defense side of the ball?
Well, Jarrell Coleman, he coached there last year. Spent a little time at Tennessee State, but he's a Bethune-Cookman graduate. Does a great job in recruiting. I thought he deserved the opportunity to run his defense. Had some great high school experience. I thought he had a good approach to what he wanted to do. Great way of teaching. I'm excited about, the defense. We got some former head coaches over there with him. We have Dickie Brooks, a longtime SWAT guy, Joe Carter, and some new guys, Larry Bailing, which played for me at Benedict, to get that young flavor over there. But, we have some veterans on defense, and that always play great dividends. I know you and I talked back last year when you made the comment about our staff, but we had a veteran staff. Yeah. So it wasn't very much that we didn't see or haven't seen. So when times got hard, we were able to keep our group under control. It's just like with Ruffin. Ruffin had the same makeup on his staff. So when we were 0-5 that year, we didn't blink. We kept it in the middle of the road, and then all of a sudden it turned, and we ran the table, and we won the championship. That's what veteran coaches allow you to do. So Jarrell Coleman is going to be our defensive coordinator again. He's been around a while, been Kentucky State. So I think he's deserving of his opportunity. And right now, it's his show. And I know he's excited, and I know he's going to do a good job.
Yeah.
Coach, let me ask you this here, Coach. How many coaches do you have on your staff?
We have, including myself. Did I say Jarrell Coleman? What did I just say?
You said Coleman.
It's Cogman. I'm sorry. And I apologize if he's listening. I don't know. Johnnie Cole got my mind all mixed up. But Jarrell Cogman is his name, by the way. But and your question
was, how many coaches do you guys carry on staff?
Well, right now, including myself, we have a total of 9.
Okay.
So that was one of the things that the president and I talked about. And, we talked about that in scholarship that we thought was very important. And he's trying to give me what I need. He often tells me, give him a chance. Don't just say what Lane can't do, to talk to him and give him a chance to see, can he get it worked out? And that was one of the things that he did right away.
Well, I can tell you now, you guys have came from a long way from when I was there. I was there from 05 to 07, and we had 7 scholarships. And on the Division II level, you can have up to 36. And now you're up to, what you say, Coach, 29?
27.
27. That's extremely well. It seems like they're making a commitment.
Oh yeah,
to the football program.
Oh yeah, again, but his staff, like I said, has helped me out tremendously. He has a great group working with him. They come up with innovative ways for me to improve that, and that's what I can appreciate. They're all in. We're not sitting around talking about what we don't have. Trust me, that's not what we're doing. You'll see there's a lot of great things coming over this horizon from Lane College. I promise you that.
Now, have the enrollment I know when I was there, we started off at 900, and of course we had some success on the football program back to back, and we went from 900 to like 1300. So that did allow me to get about 2 more scholarships at the time. But has the enrollment went up in Lane?
We'll know this year. I think we got a great plan. Dr. Cook is doing a tremendous job. We meet quite a bit. I love his plan. I love the way they are going about doing things in the admission office. I know the numbers will be up. That I can tell you. But the end result, I don't know. But if we continue at the rate that we are going now, I know we'll have record enrollment. And normally when you win in athletics, enrollment does increase. So we're looking for that same effect. And that's one of the reasons athletics is so important. It drives enrollment, So I know the role that we're supposed to play. And again, it's part of that theme of igniting our players, our students, and informing them. It's a part of that respect and a part of that role that we need to play on campus as well, as leaders. And I think that's going to add to the Lane College experience.
Yeah. Man, I see you got a little Lane shirt on, don't you? Let me see the logo on there, Cole. Y'all changed my logo? Oh, no, that's old school. No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, this is the new Lane. Okay. That's the new Lane.
They always have beautiful colors, Coach. That red, white, and blue, that's
I don't know why I fell in love with this blue and white. I think Derek Burrows changed this. I don't know. It's divine intervention or something. Red, blue, and white. Now, who could have thought of a better color? Pam, what do you think about that?
Yeah. No, the colors were real nice, Coach. Real nice.
Now, Coach, I think I heard him say, what did you just say?
I just asked you, could you appreciate the colors of red, blue, and white? That's all.
Well, Coach, I do appreciate them. We always know that orange and green always has a certain feel to it. You know what I'm saying? But ain't nothing wrong with that, Kind of remind me of them JSU Tigers a little bit. You know how they y'all, So, Coach, you're right at home almost with that now.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Coach, what is your furthest road trip this upcoming year?
I think we're gonna play in New York. We're gonna play Central State out in New York. I think that game has been settled. And one of the classics out there, I think that's gonna be the longest trip.
Okay.
But of course, we will be flying out there. We won't take a bus. And I think eventually we're going to play Edward Waters again. The way they have it set up now, it's like every other year or every 2 years. So Clark will be back on the schedule. So, we'll go back to Atlanta. We don't play Benedict this year. So in a couple of years, we'll go back to Carolina. So right now, the longest trip would definitely be Central State.
Okay.
Coach, let me ask you a question. As you're building your team and you're looking, and so much is with the portal now. You saw what you guys did at Miles. You know what I mean? What is your philosophy? Are you looking, hey, there's some great high school talent? Are you looking to bring guys that's looking for opportunity? Are you looking for guys that's on the level and you're just trying to get them to move over to come to your program? What is going to be your recruiting philosophy?
Well, there's somebody for everybody. But I think it's important that they want to be at Lane. I really don't. I'm trying to recruit talent, but it's very important to me that you want to be a part of what we're trying to do. And when I send you the scholarship, NCAA says 7 days. And if I don't get it back in 7 days, I'm not going back. I think it's important for them to want to be where they are. So more so than anything else, other than talent, I want people who are committed to Lane. I think that's the most important thing. You got to be committed to where you're trying to go. I know you have dreams and aspirations, but at Lane College is all about being committed to next level of excellence.
Now, Coach, let me ask you a question. That's interesting. Now, is that over the course of you talking as you're recruiting a player and you feel it through, again, just his actions? He said, Coach, I know what you're building. I know about Lane. How do you feel that, or, what is your level of saying, what you just said, that guy wants to be here compared to the guy,
Well,
I just want to get out the portal.
Yeah, you can't go in with a presentation. Recruiting is all about a conversation. And you got to allow him to talk and express himself. If you don't do that, you're going to miss it. So not so much of me making this presentation about Lane College, but it's listening to the student tell me about his goals and aspirations and what he wants to do. And from that conversation, I know what he's about. I know enough because commitment will come out. But, you'll know how committed he is once you get him there and you all get to working. But based on the things that he's gone through, things he experienced, and once he communicate to you what he's trying to do, you'll know whether or not he's capable of fitting into what you're trying to do. Self-centered person has no business trying to come to Lane. It ain't going to work. We all about family. We all about team. That's what I want to hear, from hard work. Again, I truly believe hard work will beat talent when talent don't work hard. I believe that. And that's the whole idea about power of potential. Everybody got potential, right? But who wants to pay the price to bring out their potential? Who really wants to attack next level of excellence? Who really wants to do that? The person who masters that will be the champion of the SIAC this year.
I love it, Coach. Like I said, Coach, I just think that you're going to get your players. Well, which leads to what is a Coach Conner player?
Self-motivated. You got to be. You got to be self-motivated. You talking about it's all about what you do when nobody's watching. That's what it's all about. If you want 1,000 people cheering for you, when you get out there and work, that's how you have to work, as if you got 1,000 people watching you when nobody's around. If you can't find it to do the things necessary to be successful on your own, because that's what you need to do, you're going to have trouble in this world. This world is very cruel. You have people every day finding out a way how they can take advantage of you. And to be frank, you got to understand that the devil is really out there. It is a devil. And he does seek, steal, and destroy. And you got to understand that. So at some point, you need to know the scripture to know where he's coming from. And that's something that we're not shying away from at Lane. We have chapel on Wednesday. Nothing changed, Cole. We still have chapel on Wednesday, but I also have chapel on Friday. So that's one thing. This is my grandson. I remember when he was sitting in my lap during the interview. Now he's about 6 foot grown man, construction engineering, about to get out of here.
I was going to say, Jesus Christ, you brought a man in there. He breaking me.
That's the kind of guys we're looking for at Lane. You got to understand your purpose, but you got to work that way. Man don't work, man can't eat. Yeah. That's what the word says. We're not shying away from that. Make no bones about it. And
well, I'll say this, Coach, you off to a good start, because I know through my career when we won championships, it all started in the president's office. When you had everybody on board, from the president to the financial aid office and on down. I know it starts up there. So evidently the president must really trust in you and really understand the magnitude of what it is to have a good football program on a college campus. So I commend you guys on that. And I figured you were good staff, coming off of a good staff. And I see you understood the magnitude of how y'all played at Miles. I've seen y'all play 2 or 3 times, and I just seen the kids get better. The kids was mannerable, because I believe in what you say. I usually say a program is better than a program with talent. I mean, a talented program, because I just believe in systems, systematic ways of doing things. So I commend you on that. When you guys show back, when does practice start back for you? The kids to report.
Well, we have summer school that has started, and we have 2 summer sessions. So the kids who are in school right now, we believe that you come to summer school to get better academically and also to get better athletically. We don't believe in coming to summer school to get eligible. That's another philosophy that we have right now. So we're going to get started right away. Those kids who are in summer school, the strength and conditioning coach is going to take over. Bigger, stronger, faster. There's no way around it. So we're going to get that in. But of course, the rules are still the same. 10 days before the first day of class, that's when we'll bring everybody else in.
Let's switch gears for a minute, Coach. You played on that higher level. You know what it is to be a Canadian League football player and a professional athlete. The big thing is about Shedeur Sanders. What's your take on that? Him going so late and all the fixings around it.
Well, back to Bro Rabbit. Bro Rabbit told him, please don't throw me in the briar patch. He just kept saying it. So when they got a chance to catch Bro Rabbit, they threw him in the briar patch. But little did they know that's exactly where Bro Rabbit wanted to be, in the briar patch. He was at home. Shedeur Sanders is at home. You just motivated him to take it to a next level. It's all about legacy to him. But you have just gave him the biggest shot in the arm, because you're really telling him that he's not a first-round quarterback. But trust me, he doesn't believe that. So now you just gave him all the ammunition that he needs to work at that level. So I think you did him a favor.
Yeah, because I got hit with that question a lot, and actually I said that that's the best thing to happen to him, because when you look at his career, he's always been a underdog, but take his team to the top. He did it in high school. Of course, he went to Jackson State. Then he went to Colorado State. He's to me has the it factor. You know what I'm saying? And so, like you said, I think you said it even more gracefully than me, that they just lit another fire in that kid. You know what I mean? And he's a focus. That kid is a football player. You know what I'm saying? And he bought into his dad 100, and probably to his fault. We can mention that. Probably to his fault.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he'll answer the bell. I definitely think he'll answer the bell. And right now, his jersey is the most sold rookie jersey right now. He's watched the most on social media. I mean, he's number 1 in all the areas. You know what I mean? So, time will tell. Time will tell. What about you? What you think, Rocky?
Well, my deal is this, man. I think they took an opportunity to humble a very proud family.
Yes.
The kid, whether you can talk about measurables, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. But on Saturday afternoon, when that ball is kicked in the air, he was undeniably a baller, right?
That's
and
right.
if that same kid last name was
Brock.
anything else other than Sanders, I believe he's not as famous. He's not as famous, but he's surely drafted before the 5th round. He's not as famous. Now, if his name is Shador Miller or Shador Conner, but he's definitely drafted before the 5th round based on his ability to play the game of football. He does everything you want a quarterback to do above the shoulders. And yeah, he's just okay physically. But I'll say this, there's been a whole bunch of first-round draft pick white guys who are just okay physically, but they rave about their game above the shoulders, and they still manage to. You got to remember, Todd Marinovich was drafted in the 1st round. Man, I could go so down the list. So many guys were drafted in the 1st round who had a much less impressive resume than Shador Sanders. And so was he treated fairly? Absolutely not. But to his point, to his father's credit, he's not chasing money by coming to the NFL. What he's chasing for is to carry out that Sanders name and he's chasing greatness. And that, to me, in my opinion, that's far more powerful than anything money can provide to him.
Mr. Campbell.
Well, y'all know I'm on the opposite side of this. I'm giving y'all, and again, I know what happened. I talked to scouts. I'm sorry, I'm just on the opposite side of it. And I'm going to look back at Coach. And Brock, you holler out Tom Marinovich. Tom Marinovich was 2 inches tall and had a big arm. So I watched him USC.
Did you see him play at USC?
I watched every guy you play. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing I'm going to say about this. And
go look him up.
No, I got Rocky. I was in the business. I don't have to look up nobody.
Okay,
you the same age, so I know exactly. And I know his daddy. He was the first robo. His dad had a whole training level for him. Okay, he was supposed to be the guy and dropped down because he got on drugs out in the SC. That's the reason why he dropped down to the Raiders, because he's supposed to be a number 1 pick. See, that's what I'm talking about. Bro, we here, but I'm gonna get back to what Coach is saying. There's 2 things to all my young people. Rocky, what you talking about is the resume. When you go apply for a job, the first thing you send is your resume, is it not?
Absolutely.
That's exactly what you just said. But there's also a very important thing, and what Coach talked about is you have to interview. Because no matter what your resume is, if those people don't feel you when you interview, there's a problem. Now, there are things that we have heard, we can believe it or not. But one thing that I have said, and I will believe this to the day I die, you can't go into a job interview and not give your best foot forward. You cannot be late. You cannot say, I kind of don't want to do this, because to the point you're going to work for somebody. And I'm telling you, that coach right here, Coach Conner, is going to teach his kids that on both sides. Not only what you do on the field is how you present yourself. So while I'll agree that should he been a 5th rounder, man, probably not. But like I told you, and I shared things with both of you all of what Scout said. And these were HBCU guys that were in these rooms that were disappointed of some of that. So for me, I kind of got to split the middle, because I get concerned because, again, when we say that, because there are a lot of black quarterbacks that have to work hard, that have to do it both ways. And while I understand why you're saying the white quarterbacks, I'm not going to argue that point. Matter of fact, Mitch Trubisky is a perfect example.
Mac Jones
is a perfect example. So, but here's the thing about it. What's crazy? Those guys are still bigger than Shador and have bigger arms. But compared to the guys that the black quarterback that had the equal talent, they were not as talented. And see, that's where we can't get confused either, because I can show you black quarterbacks that were of equal size and talent. Okay, I can't take a guy that is 6'3.5", got a rocket arm, and say Shador is better than him. I can't do that. I can't do that. So that's just,
What was the kid that came out of Florida State? You'll be familiar with this. The kid, his wife works on ESPN now. I can't think her name.
Christian Ponder.
Yeah.
Ponder. But see, again, I'm going to say this again. There's 2 parts to this. And, Coach, I know you're going to do this with your players. There is a resume you submit, and there's an interview that you have to do. So, Rocky, would you submit to this from what you heard and what you said? Do you believe he did his best best interview.
No. So let me say this. You got to understand, Shador is the first quarterback in NFL history to be drafted and not take the Wonderlic. He didn't take the Wonderlic.
And tell him
Now,
what the Wonderlic
to
is.
his point, his daddy didn't take the Wonderlic either.
But his
daddy
daddy
ran a
but his dad
4.2
was an all-time great. This is why we can't do this. See, you can't see. You know what? Listen, man.
His dad was a consensus All-American.
Listen,
2 years ago.
Listen. See, this is what we even cheat.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is,
all-time great athlete.
no, I wasn't saying it. I wasn't saying it for the reason that to say Shador was equal to his father. I was saying that his father had a blueprint that he abided by when he went to the draft point. And to Coach Conner's point, he maybe followed his father's blueprint to a point, and based on the position he plays, his measurables, right? He wasn't afforded the grace that his father was given.
Well, his father didn't need no Rocky. His father didn't need. See, Deion Sanders didn't need no grace. Okay,
they could have held it against him that he didn't interview.
No. See, this is what
they could have held it against him.
No, because this goes back to the point. They don't. If you got the size of speed, listen. Everybody remembers what's my guy that was a quarterback that got drafted by the Raiders that played for LSU.
Jamarcus Russell.
Everybody knew that this guy was not going to be a cop, but because he got on his knees and threw a football 70 yards, and he was 6'5", 240 pounds.
Who is that now?
Jamarcus Russell. That's somebody getting grace.
I recruited him out of high school.
That was somebody that was given grace. Okay,
yeah, I recruited that kid out of high school. He was a thin kid. He wasn't no 200 nothing. He was real thin.
Well, guess what? When he got that weight room at LSU, that's what he came out at.
But I think Jamarcus Russell also
he ate his way. He ate his way into that, coach. He was
no. I'll say this: Jamarcus Russell was also one of those guys. If you look up his Wonderlic, he's in the Vince Young range of Wonderlicks as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So see, that's what I'm saying. All of that, if you have the size. And because again, if Shador could have did all that he did, if Cam Sanders, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. If he was Lamar Jackson that ran a 4.2 that had a rocket arm, listen, man, I ain't gonna. Coach knows this, and both coaches know this. We have people play football that are not brain scientists, okay, brain surgeons. Okay, let's be honest. So I think sometimes, and again, I know people get passionate about this. But I guess just for me, I would have rather for him to put his best foot forward in these interviews, because I think then I could. Because see what you do, and I'm gonna make my last point. Now shut up. What you do is you give people an out when you don't do that, because then they can say, "Hey, that's what happens." So that's my thing. That's my only concern about that. But you know what? But one other thing. But you know, Rocky, wait. One last thing. But it doesn't matter, because you know what? The football's a great equalizer. Because if he's as good as everybody says, he's gonna be the starting quarterback.
And I think you have a great point there. I think I'll say this. The Sanders family didn't take the draft process seriously, right?
I don't think it was about their seriousness of the draft. I think they misread the draft. They were reading their clippings, you know what I mean, and picking the team that they wanted to go, and it wasn't there. You know, the numbers wasn't there. You know, his vitals didn't add up. What you think, Coach Conner? You the Lane College NFL Dragons, and you know we putting you in your war room, and you got a kid that everywhere he's won is great, and that scenario. I mean, I'm throwing you what you say. I'm throwing you in the brothel or the weed or
the briar patch.
Yeah, we ain't gonna throw him in the brothel.
I'm old country boy, guy. I'm a country
you got
boy.
A quarterback coming there saying, "No, coach, no. We don't want that. I want us to throw the ball over here, and I'm gonna come in." And then before he left, he did you like this, and he had a big jewelry ring on it. And he say, "No, I'm not gonna come to you you got to come to my senior day.
I think, to be honest, I really think it was all about making sure he understood this is the good old boy network. We still run things. If that makes sense to you. I think that point had to be made. And I think they made that point. Regardless of the scenario, regardless of how you painted it, had it figured out, I wanted to make sure that you understood.
This is our ball game.
There you go. So, and it is. I mean, just be real about what we're talking about. They run that show. They do. You can say what you want to say. Whatever they want to happen will happen. We've seen it. I mean, I've seen a little bit of everything in my tenure. Even from when you're told you need to lose some games, and now you let that be known, and now you can't come back to the good old boy network, that just shows you that they're still in control of it. Whatever they want to happen will happen. Whatever they allow, they will allow it. They still run that show. And to forget that, I think is a mistake.
Just to piggyback, let me piggyback off of what he's saying for our audience about NFL and pro teams, period, across the board, across the sports. When they see that their season is at the end, it's about draft choices now. So they'll tell their management that they don't want, don't win games so they can get a chance to be the next first round draft choice. But go ahead, Rocky.
And that's what I was going to point out. I was going to point out the most recent situation that everyone know. Everyone know, maybe you don't know, but Brian Flores, the assistant coach for the Minnesota Vikings, has a lawsuit pending lawsuit against the NFL, where he was offered money by the owner to lose games, and he refused. And of course, as we all know, at the end of the season, he was let go because he won those games that the owner asked him to lose.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Yeah, and so what he's saying is the agendas of the owners sometimes supersede winning or anything else, for that matter. Or in this case, would you talk about Shedeur? What's good for the bottom line? Because I think there are teams that could have drafted Shedeur that he would have been good for their bottom line, as Cleveland is finding out. But again, they elected to take a hard line, and I hope the young man gets a fair shake to fulfill his dream to become an NFL quarterback. And once he gets on the field and gets an opportunity to play, we'll see what he can do. That's all he can ask for, because the game is decided in between the white lines.
Yeah. Now, Coach, and I just want to ask Coach, I've been out of the game for a little bit, but I've been in education. You hear me, Coach?
I hear you.
Okay. I've been in education now 13, 14 years, coached in high school, coached on Pop Warner and stuff. Do you think, or do you feel that the kids are different? And if so, how? Because in my mind, I think the adults treat the kids different. I think it starts there. Again, I teach. I'm in middle school now. I've taught on high school. Now I've taught on every level. Let's just say that K through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12, and of course college. And I pretty much kind of stay my same way. I'm old school. They call me old school at the school. You know what I mean? But of course now you can't yell. So now I call it elevate my voice. You can't yell. Of course you can't cuss, and you definitely can't grab no face mask and no jersey or no shirt. But I still think I have success doing it old school but by taking out those things that, and I get a great response. I don't get an automatic response like when we grew up. It's attention, but those kids, I say that I make them meet me where I'm at. No, I'm not your bro. I'm not buying into that. We're not ever going to be on the same level. And I think what happens now is what I see is, and like you say about working hard and people going out and getting talent, people not building football teams, they're just going to get talent. And we're cool and everybody got their hat, everybody rubbing elbows. Of course, some of the great coaches are getting out of it. You spent still in the game. What is your take on that?
I just think the kids got to understand you do right because it's right to do right. No other reason. You can't be motivated by the money. Now, we do know money is important, but that can't be your why you doing everything. There is a higher calling. I think if you don't involve Christ in everything you do, you're not going to be successful. You mention earlier about Noah and Stanley Conner. Noah and Stanley Conner ain't about it. That's not what you should be concerned about missing. When you miss out on the real meaning behind everything, the real success behind everything, which is the death, the burial, the resurrection. If you don't understand that, what you do is not going to last anyway. So they got to know that you for real and that you care about them. Those are the most important things. Do right because it's right to do right. That's what you got to do. It's all about character, integrity, service, in everything you do.
Yeah.
Integrity is one of those things. If you do that, it's going to cut out on a whole lot of problems because you're not scared. You're not nervous about anything because what you said yesterday, you can be able to say today because it's still true. That's why it's so important. We miss out on all that because we want everything quick, fast, and in a hurry. We don't want to work. So that's what that NIL does to you. You get it now. You don't understand the value of working, becoming good at your craft. You don't see the value in working hard. You have things handed to you. That's what they feel. A lot of people feel with the Sanders situation. It was handed. No, but you do need to. You gotta understand hard work. That's got to be a part of what you do. And you can't, when you study the scripture, for some reason, I know a lot of people think it's all about learning about Christ, but when you study the scripture, you learn so much about yourself. At least that's what happened to me. And that's why I do what I do. I teach what I teach. It's the love of what I do. This is my calling. Sometimes you feel a little apprehensive about really talking about your beliefs. But when you get away from that, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
Yeah. So, Coach, you believe coaching has changed, well, I guess to adjust to the kids.
No doubt about it, Johnny. Hey, no doubt about it. How many times have you seen coaches do stuff because they want to move up? Forget about the rules or what have you. They want to move up. So they exploit the kids, make deals with the kids. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They'll make their own deals. I just don't believe in that. Maybe that's why I never really been on the D1 level. Know a lot of those guys, respect them, have great conversation, work for them. But I believe what I believe, and that's not what gets me excited. The main thing is the main thing. That's what gets me excited. We can't. We've losing it. What the game really represents, we are really slowly moving away from it. There is some truth to old school, new school. There is a big difference. You can see it.
Okay. Coach Campbell, you kind of old school, and I mean you deal at another level, but what you think about the new kid, the new athlete, the new kid? Because I already know it's the new coaches, and there always been coaches that we used to call player coach, but some people took that out of content of player coach, meaning some coaches they let the player be on the same level just to get something out of it. I don't believe in that. I definitely believe in make sure that you respect me, to be able to play for me. And I'm gonna respect you as well. I gotta make sure I say that. What's your take, Coach Campbell, from seeing football for so long and the difference? You see more stuff on the sideline, more fights, more craziness, and players doing more things on the sideline than ever.
But you know what, though, Coach, and I don't know what I'm here. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I don't know why my picture's out, but Coach. But you know what, though, what's consistent? Even with all that being said, if we go and look to Coach's point on the highest level, on Coach's level, the 1AA level, you know what's funny? All the coaches that have the most disciplined teams win the championship still. It still doesn't change. I have yet to find, and maybe I'm wrong, and Coach Conner, you're there. I can't remember a team that people say, that was just a really undisciplined team, but they had a lot of talent and won the championship. I just don't remember that. Even in all the different eras. You know what I'm saying? Like Coach said,
they would say that a lot of people would say that about the Hurricanes.
Well, even you know what? As somebody that was around the 2000 guys, I can't talk about the Michael Irvin class. I was around Vilma and those guys. Let me tell you something about those guys. That was the hardest working group of Ed Reed and them cats.
That's different.
Dumb dudes, bro. Listen, I was around, and I can, matter of fact, what's funny, if it wasn't too late, I could get a couple of those guys on that team to tell you that they did not play around in practice. They were about business. Hey. Now, the stuff, the playing around, because and people understand the showboat is one thing, but practice, what Coach talks about, the discipline and practice that those guys had to execute. And I saw that firsthand.
But guys, don't let it fool you. Jimmy Johnson was a damn beast in that locker room. I met Jimmy Johnson personally. I was with him for a whole week. Jimmy Johnson, that man was about business, Coach. He was. They might have been on the outside acting up, but shit, when he say stop, they stopping, Coach.
Well, I would say this. I had a long conversation one time with the first round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers by the name of Leon Searcy. And he said the one thing that they were taught at Miami, and I think he won maybe three national championships while he was there. He was like, they learned from Jimmy how to manage how the players are supposed to manage the team. And that's one thing that I think that's what you were alluding to, Mr. Campbell, that in that particular era where they were, the players managed the culture of the team. And there was not a lot of situations where the coaches had to intervene. I'll just put it like that. As Leon explains it to me, the players kind of managed the team in that regard. And so I think that's where, what you were alluding to. But having the players run the team, people would say that that's undisciplined. You know what I mean? They would say that that's,
Well, Coach, I'm going to ask both of the coaches this. To me, that's leadership. If you have and listen, and I guess listen, Coach, I watched you guys on the sideline. You guys had leaders on that team, and I'm pretty sure you could correct me if I'm wrong. That there were things that you guys didn't need Coach Gordon to come and say, "Hey, cut the BS out," because you guys said, "Hey, cut the BS out." You know what I'm saying? And so because again, I can talk about your cut. Listen, Darian Conner, Cameron Condors, and Andre Lloyd, them boys were not to be played with in that linebacker crew. And I would go up and see these guys work hard and things like that. You play with Jackie Walker and Leon, those, you know what I'm saying? Man, these guys were not to be played with. So, Coach, why don't you talk a little bit about that? You know what I'm saying? Some of that guys that are championship type guys, you know what I'm saying, that had, hey, we don't need the coach to say, hey, let's get up and do practice right.
Look, in 1980, a lot of people don't remember. If you wasn't there at Jackson, you probably would know. We went on strike. People don't. I think it was 80. It had to be 80 because I was a freshman. And I remember those guys saying, the strike was about some things that we thought we needed. We should have, just different things on the field, training table, what have you. So they went on strike. But one thing they made perfectly clear, freshmen, this is not about you. We're going to go over here to Blackman Field. We're going to work. We're going to stay ready. You all better show up to practice and you better be on time. But we ain't coming. and that's what better had happened. You're right. The players, the older players who had gone through it, they raised the new players who were coming in. You didn't lose sight of what it was all about being the best. It was all about hard work. So even though there was a little turmoil, we went on strike, never stopped working. They worked, and when we got it all worked out, we came back together and we went on to win the championship. But a lot of people didn't think we were going to win, thought we were divided, but we were not. But you gotta, that's when you start talking about changing the culture. I hear that term used so loosely now. But changing the culture, when you come in, you see how things are ran and how things are done. You either get in line or get gone. It's no in between. It ain't no lukewarm. You're not straddling the fence. You either gonna be good or you're gonna be gone. And that's how it was at Jackson State. Everybody understood that.
See, Coach, and you just said the word right there, and Coach, I think, listening to yourself, you being a player and you being a coach, I think really what you're saying, and which I know you're going to do, is are you going to create a winning culture that's going to sustain even after practice, as you say, in the dorms, in the classroom, when they leave Lane, the culture of Coach Conner and Lane of being champions and winners on and off the field. See, that's such an important word right there, Coach, which I just think that we miss a rock. I think that's what, to me, I've always seen it's two things. You have successful coaches that no matter what era, they are able to put this culture in to be champions. And it's passed down to the players, because then the players, as they say, each one teach one. That's and it keeps going on.
And now it has changed. Now you impacting that household. He's going to raise his kids right. That's what it's all about. Now you're going to get more involved in the community. The community is going to get more involved, in the city itself and then the state. And now you're affecting the whole world. You're impacting the world. I remember when you got in trouble, the first thing came out of mom, dad mouth, I'm going to call the coach. That day is gone. We don't demand that kind of respect anymore. But you should. Like Johnnie said, no, you're going to respect me. But that goes, you have to do what's right as well to get that trust of the family again. Because, again, the coach has abused his authority so much, it's almost lost. We gotta get it back. That wouldn't happen with W.C. Gordon, Houston, Markham, Eddie Robinson,
Marino
Castle. That wouldn't happen. If they said, I'm gonna call coach. I remember Ben Harris in Mobile, one of the most respected high school coaches. I was visiting with him one day, recruiting. We act like we didn't see those guys, but they saw me walking with Ben Harris. They were smoking. You should have seen them hide those cigarettes so quick. But it wasn't that. The idea, those guys was not even in school anymore.
Right.
They were not even in school. They were out of school. Because of that respect they had for him, they still felt that way even when they was out of school grown men, that they had to respect him that way even then. They were putting it out like he was going to take them to the principal office. Hell, they weren't even in school. But that day is slowly drifting away. But that's what I appreciate about, the guys I coached up on the work for. They were more than just a coach. And they were more than just a coach to the parents, to the community. If you wanted something done, you went and got the coach. That's how powerful he was.
Well, Coach, man, we don't have you on for an hour and 50, man, but definitely we'll bring you back during the year, right before the season to try to get your preseason, because we do a preseason chart on the CIAA, the SIAC, as well as the SWAC and the MEAC. And, man, we all, me and you talk off camera, and, you've always been a fan of yours, whether you know it or not. I could just still remember as a sophomore, y'all running the score up on us. And all I can remember is Stanley Conner touchdown. y'all beat the socks off. I take it,
The
but
check
I did
is in the mail, Johnny.
Yeah, hey, but I did get back at you when you was at Alabama A&M. So I got you on the coaching level.
Yeah.
But no,
Hey.
no, but Coach, I wish you well at Lane. I'm gonna turn it over to my other guys. I'm gonna be still here, but we don't have you on for an hour and 50 minutes, man.
I
talking about
enjoyed it.
Lane football. But I appreciate you and the things that you stand for, guys.
And I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. No, we ain't gonna forget about Lane. Next time we bring you on, we're gonna lead you on with your fight song.
Okay, I got another one for you. I'm gonna play a different one.
All right. Thank you, Coach. You got anything, Cam, before you go?
No, Coach, thank you. And like I said, I wish you well. And man, it's always good to see a former Tiger doing well. So keep fighting.
And Coach Conner, we'll let you end it.
You'll let us win. What was
No,
that?
I said I'm gonna let you end it. You got any last words for the HBCU crowd?
Yes. I'm a dragon, and I'm proud to be a dragon. We are a family that depends on each other. I respect my school, my teammates, my coaches, and myself. And this team is as solid as I am. And I'll do everything I can to keep it that way, Teddy Keaton.
Oh, man. Shots fired.
Okay.
Shots fired. All right, then, Coach. I'm going to have to clip that one, Coach. All right. Hey, Coach Cole, look like we got another coach that's rip raring and ready to go at his new job, Coach.
Yeah. He has his work cut out for him, and he's in good spirits. He knows why he's there. His experience, you could tell his experience from coming in on programs like that, that he got the right motivation. He know the work that's cut out for him, and and when you come in those situations, it ain't time to start talking about what happened in the past and the losing seasons. It's to come in and talk like that. We don't talk about losing no more. We talk about winning. So I think he has the right attitude. He's hired a great staff so far. I believe in the older staff. Not saying you shouldn't have young guys on there. You should, but you should have a mixture.
Right.
But so he got his work cut out for him, and I look for big things at Lane College.
Hey, Coach, I was looking at his schedule, and I meant to point it out. Like over half the coaches on his schedule will also be first-year head coaches. So he's got a good shot. He's going to be playing Alabama A&M, Central, Fort Valley. There's quite a few guys that are first-year head coaches.
Yeah, Moses is just his second year at Lincoln, but Lincoln only won one game in like 5 years.
And if you go on 2-year coaches, you can add Allen in there and Morehouse. And so, you know, I mean, you know, there's not a lot of, the only 10-year coach he really has to contend with is the guy from Albany State and maybe Tuskegee. Or not Tuskegee, Kentucky State maybe. I don't know.
Coach Campbell. And let's talk about that for about 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, you know, what's happening? You know, all these new coaches and just turn over and over. You know, we wasn't accustomed to that. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys see the turnover? Rocky, we got to sit down and take. I know you took account about 2 years ago, and we had almost 20 new coaches within so many years. Probably in the last 5 years.
In a Dion era, up until the start of 2023, I want to say the SWAC had like 21 coaches.
And the only coach left is Eddie Robinson.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the only one left.
You're right. In 5 years, it's just one coach left. So Pine Bluff, he going in his second year. Right?
Here's the interesting thing. There was about 6 schools where they had already had 2 coaches since Dion had been there. They're actually on their 3rd coach.
And then you look at Norfolk, Delaware State, Morgan come back with their coach. Who else we got?
South Carolina State flipped from Buddy Pugh.
Right, South Carolina State. He coming in his second year.
A&T's got on. It was from Sam Washington to that's 3 coaches.
Fort Worth, Central State. Wow. I mean, it ain't even an average of 3 years.
Well, you look at it, Coach, and I'm just looking at the SIAC because I'm not familiar enough with the other. If you look at this, Coach, a lot of the turnover in the SIAC, I believe, is domino effect because of what's happening in the SWAC. You know what I mean? Right. Is that when you take, Chinnis Berry moves up, and that creates a vacancy. Coach Shade moves up. That creates a vacancy. Now we do have Coach. Has Central State hired a coach yet?
Yeah, they hired this guy that was a secondary coach, never been a head coach. He played in the pros for 8 years. So, yeah, they hired another inexperienced guy. Okay. You know, the guy they left has some experience in Coach Porter, but this guy has no coordinator nor head coaching experience. He just played in the pros.
You know, Fort Valley, they're going to have a new coach because Sean was elevated. I mean, Coach Gibbs was elevated, So I think that's part of it. Like, let's say this, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. When you talk about black head coaches, there's not a deep roster of guys with experience, right? There's not a deep roster of guys. And if you get rid of 3 or 4 guys in a cycle, then you have to start recycling guys, right? That's what it looks like to me.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to look at guys with winning records, and that's why it's important to put these guys in places who have won. You know what I mean? They know what winning looks like, what it smells like. But if you keep starting it, you never finish the race. And like you say, we had 21 new coaches. So there's 21 coaches that was a head coach that's sitting on the side.
But there's also a reason why them 21 got fired too, Coach, though. There's also a reason why them 21 got fired too, because they didn't win.
But listen, what I'm saying is, in 4 leagues, with what is it, 40 coaches? We got 21 that got coaching experience out of 40 schools. So now we got another 21 in. You see what I'm saying? The turnover. and the thing about it is did those schools make the right commitment to that guy? It's almost like until pro guys came in, it's like they found money to pay these guys, almost $500,000. But then when you're not a pro guy, they choke the program. So I just don't get the philosophy.
Coach, I'm gonna make an observation based on just my limited experience, Coach. One of the things that I was always thought was troublesome is when HBCU coaches express how not only do they do more with less, they almost brag about doing more with less. And I think at a certain point, it becomes the expectation of the AD, the president, and the chancellors for you to do more with less. So they don't invest in the program the way they should. And when guys aren't as talented, who get jobs, who aren't as talented as you or Eddie Robinson or Marino Chasm or Deion Sanders or T.C. Taylor or all those guys over the years who've won championships, when guys who are less talented comes into a situation where they don't have adequate support, they are doomed to fail each and every time.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem. Like, you at Texas Southern set the table up for failure in their program because you were able to do it with so much less or with the same infrastructure where other people failed. They chose not to reinvest as they should. And so that way you've had, 3 or 4 coaches after you leave, none of them were able to win because they didn't invest in the program any more than they did when you were there. But unfortunately, Coach, they're not as talented or connected as you are.
Yeah. I think we had Kevin Ramsey, Durrell Ashbury, Michael Haywood, McKinney, and now Chris Dishman. That's been 5 coaches in 15 years. So what is that? An average of 3 years or 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years and out. So that means, and then what hurt them too now, if you give me 3 years and you don't hire me to January, Campbell, damn, that recruiting class is slow.
As I thought about what has happened in the HBCU football, and again, I'm not talking about historic, I'm just talking about just the process. I believe this. The best thing that happened to Jackson State when Deion left is they had an immediate transition to T.C. Taylor. And that set him up for success. A couple years later, he wins a championship. I believe that Coach Cozy was put behind the 8-ball by having the better part of a month and a half where the Florida A&M job was in limbo. Had there been a smooth transition immediately, you would, to me, I believe they would have been able to field a more formidable team than they fielded this past season. Because I don't think Smitty leaves. I think a lot of things, a lot of things stay the same in that situation, and they're able to be more competitive in the SWAC than they were this year.
Well, I'm okay. I'm gonna put my FAMU hat on. I'm gonna agree with you because basically, she knew that Willie wasn't coming back in December. Okay, so if they had done the transition, her not trying to stick and get gifts, you get the whole month. Smitty Rock was leaving anyway because he either won the job or he was leaving. So that's understandable. But here's the thing, though. Listen, Rocky, you gotta understand something. We, as bad as this is how good that team was, as bad they looked, they shouldn't have lost the Valley.
No.
They shouldn't have lost the Valley. And we still finished number 2 in the East. And we still beat South Carolina State, the MEAC champion. We still beat Southern, the West champion. We still beat Alabama State, that was supposed to be the SWAC champion.
Coach, y'all were literally one play from beating Jackson.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. As bad as people say, that's why I'm like, yeah, people act like we were 5-7. You know what I mean? You know, so again, I
Coach,
understand.
but you have to understand, y'all went 2 years, y'all went 3 years without losing the game to anybody else other than Jackson State. So
And we shouldn't have. But again, and Coach knows this, and we talked about it. It was the offensive coordinator. That's why we had. Listen, he got fired when he ran an option play on the 1 yard line against Valley. That's why he never worked again after that play for Florida A&M University, because that lost that game. Because if you don't lose that game, we 8 wins, and you're just like, hey, you know. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes, like I say, it was divine intervention. You need that.
Well, the point I was making is a lot of the administrative things that happen on the HBCU level affect what happens on the field. And I think if there was one spot, me personally, I think should get tightened up is the administrative aspect of how they deal with football and other sports. Because I think the good thing about PV is that AD Golf was able to offer a job and hire a competent guy without any problem. You know what I mean? Like that makes a difference. And he's able to hit the ground running, right? And similar to Alabama A&M, able to offer the job and hit the ground running. In situations where schools like, I think Valley is going to kind of pay the price for having the job hang out there for a while. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
It ain't a place that I've been that we haven't won a championship where the president was okay to get a head coach, whatever he needed to get there. When I was at Southern under Pete Richardson, man, they gave Pete whatever he wanted. But Pete had a V-line because his kinfolk knew the president, and the president chose him. When we went to Tennessee State, my brother was the 4th choice after 3, and the president stepped in and said, I want this guy. And the president stayed with it.
Made sure he was successful.
Only thing the AD had got into the president's head about not giving my brother a bonus, you know, after winning back-to-back Ohio Valley Conference championships. And he bought into that. And then we went to Alabama State. We had a Board of Regents guy named Donald Watkins, made sure that we had everything. Matter of fact, he had called a meeting for us with the president, the AD, and told them, we on a conference call. Give them what they need to do to win. And we done that. And then, of course, you know, my route to Lane College, I had a V-line straight to the president. And he gave me what I needed, you know, to perform. And he fought people off of me as well. So I think what you're saying is right on, Rocky, that those are things you need. And I said it earlier, you know, with Coach Conner, you know, you win championships out of that president's office, you know, and they give you what you need to perform at the highest level.
Absolutely.
And they understand that if we're going to get rid of a coach, let's go ahead on and do that. By the time that season's over, let's look at it. And that hurt you guys, Camel. I mean, you know, we talked about it all the way up. You know, we're going to give it to Cozy. We're going outside. What we going to do? And as they were going through all the bull crap, the kids was under uncertainty, and y'all end up losing, you know, y'all end up even losing the
running back. The running back y'all would have had.
Yeah, the fabric of a championship team and championship mind. Then all them kids is like, I don't know what's going on around here. So that did
lost because the offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. I was in Jackson and we were up and gave a 7 away when we didn't run the ball. And I was up when that boy should have ran the ball and then got his head knocked off. So I'm sorry, Coach. That was offensive. I tell you what, Coach Cole would have called them plays. That's all I do.
hey guys,
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey guys, it's been another great show. Camel, you got anything before we get out of here?
Yeah. I got one thing, and I'm gonna say this real quick. There's a lot in the news about what's going on in FAMU, but this is even a bigger thing to all HBCUs and understand. They do not want our HBCUs to be great. there's a reason why they want the leadership presidents to be unstable. Because when you have an unstable, as you say, Coach, where does champions start? What did you just say, Coach?
In the president's office, Coach.
So think about it. That's champions on the field and off the field. So, Coach,
academically too.
There you go. So if I've got presidents that are not qualified, guess what happens? That means there's no faith from the alumni. So guess what? The alumni are going to give money. That means students are not going to come. That means their corporations are not going to invest. That means they're not going to lead the university positive. So if you look at all these MAGA red states, look at what they've done to our HBCUs, where they don't give us strong black leaders that we had, Coach, when we were growing up. These presidents were icons at these universities. Because you got to understand something. If I'm at a Jackson State, Southern, Gramling, FAMU, North Carolina, Tennessee State, I've got the most powerful people in that state behind me that's black because they're educated and they make money. So if I've got 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 kids, I can move some. I can change votes, Coach. If I've got 60, 70,000 living alumni, I can move mountains. And that's what they're trying to do. So that's what we're saying here at Florida A&M. We are not going to allow that MAGA movement to basically neuter Florida A&M. So that's why I've got this background.
Where's the young lady come from?
Well, so she is a DeSantis plant. She was not originally far as the people that applied for the job. She came out at the last minute. She doesn't have any educational background. She's a person that does not have our values. And that's the thing about it. So what you see this in all these schools. So why would you bring a person that has no academic background, a person that believes in moving private money, public money to private schools? That ain't in our best interest. So so that's the reason why they don't want the Dr. John Peoples and the Frederick Humphreys anymore. They don't want those people, Coach, because those men were leaders, not at the school, but in the communities.
And they weren't ran by the board. Even though they answered to the board, they weren't ran by the board. And that's what happens a lot too. They put people in place and then because people don't understand. Board members are just they are people who own businesses around. It don't mean that they know how to run the school.
No.
They just there. They supposed to be there to monitor the president. But now you got boards at black colleges actually try to run the school. And that's
but they're running the school with it. But the problem is they're running with a negative agenda for the school.
Yes. Yeah, they use the college campus as a playground, to get things done for themselves.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's why, again, if you look at the state of Mississippi, Valley, Jack State, Alcorn, look at and I'm telling you something, I'm from Jack. Those Jack State people said, do not hire these people. And guess what they did? Hire those people. They said it. They knew the people. We're looking at this woman in Florida. They know this woman in Florida. They're telling you. And once again, and I'm going to say this last thing. Coach, we already went through hiring somebody unqualified. That was the AD. You see how that worked out? Yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that. Keep fighting, folks. Keep fighting. Thanks, Coach.
Keep. Man, it's been a great night, man. I will only continue to appreciate you guys for watching the show, making us bigger and better. We've always out to try to make things bigger and better. Things now in the world is kind of scrambling, and that's what I always tell you before I get off. If you feel yourself at the end of the rope, you tie a knot and you hold on tight because ain't nobody bad like you.